welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal, and in today's video, I am going to take you through the process of putting together my fourth story inside of my December Daily 2021 album. This story is all about turning on the Christmas lights for the very first time this season, and while I originally intended this story to be turning on the Christmas lights on the Christmas tree, it actually turned into a slightly different story about putting the lights on the outside of our house and turning those on for the first time. That's the first lights that we've actually plugged in so far this season. I am going to take you through the process of how I put together both the foundation page for this story and then how I created the remaining parts of it today. Once I have the process completed, we'll slow back down in order to read the journaling for this story and then call it a day from there. So let's go ahead and dive into the process. So I went into creating the foundation of this story knowing that this was going to be about turning on Christmas lights for the very first time. And when I was contemplating what product I wanted to use to help me tell this story, I was immediately drawn to the calm and bright white glitter chipboard title. I thought something I could do with this one would be to add it on top of a piece of vellum where I would type up my journaling on the vellum itself. And then I could take that and overlay it on top of a photo of maybe my Christmas tree with some kind of bokeh type of filter on it so that it's a blurred out tree where you're seeing more of the lights than you are of the definition of the tree. So that's kind of where I was starting with this foundation. However, I wanted the vellum piece and the photo to be the width of the title piece, which meant that I would need something to go next to it in order to hold the page inside of my December Daily album. So what I did is I pulled out an older transparency that I have left over from my last year's stash. This one has these black trees on it and gold or coppery gold looking snowflakes. I thought that that would be perfect in combination with a picture that's got a bunch of lights on it. So I figured that the picture itself was probably going to be fairly colorful, and so having something more neutral next to that would be a really nice complement to the story. I wanted a place to put my number for this one, so what I decided to do was grab one of the transparency hearts from this year's collection and to add that into the middle of the transparency in between where the holes are that it will go into the album. Now, because you're going to be able to see the heart on the opposite side of this page when we get into story number 5, I decided to go into the transparency hearts and find another one that's going to go well color-wise with what I have planned for my next day and go ahead and just staple that onto the transparency on the back side. So you'll notice that I had taken the two, positioned them there, and then used my tiny attacher to staple all of it together. Then I grabbed those gold puffy stickers and added my 04 onto the heart. So now we are fast forwarding to the day that I actually put this layout together. So this would have been when I took the pictures and wrote my story, and now we're ready to just go ahead and assemble this. Now, when I worked on this layout, I was working on story 4 and 5 at the same time. I'm splitting that content apart, and you will see story 4 today and story 5 tomorrow. But because some of the pieces needed to happen at the same time, you are going to see a little bit of the process for story 5 in today's video. So the first thing I needed to do was to position the photo that I printed, and this is a photo of our house at night with all of the Christmas lights that we put up on the house turned on. I need to position that onto the transparency so that it is the same width as the page protector. So what I'm going to do is pull over a plastic page protector and add the transparency piece on top of it. This way I can see exactly how much room I've got. In order to keep the transparency in place, I'm using 2 of these binder clips and just kind of squishing that all together so it stays in place. And then I'm going to position my photo on there and stick it down. I have adhesive on the left edge, so all I have to do is press it down once I get it where I want it to go, and then we can unclip it and put the transparency or the pocket page away. So here's where you're going to see a little bit of the next day's story. I will end up adhering those back to back, the journaling for tomorrow's story and the journaling for the photo for today's story. And then I'm stitching the entire thing down on top of the transparency. I like the added texture and I like the extra security that provides. So now we're going to flip back and just work on today's story again. So now I've got the vellum piece that I want to put over the photo, but here I realize that I did not leave myself a way to adhere the vellum to the top of that photo. So I'm actually going to have to rip apart the top portion there just so I can stick some washi down in between, and then we can get the vellum portion adhered. If I were to do this whole page over again, I would have done this vellum part first. So I would have added my washi tape and then stuck it down on top of the photo. And then when I went to actually stitch down the pieces, I would have just flipped up the vellum portion, added my stitching down the edge just like I already did, and then that piece would have been in the perfectly right spot. Instead, I have to finagle this, and it works totally fine. It ends up working out and still looking beautiful. It just took a little bit of creativity to figure out how the heck to make this work. So I have two different washi tapes that I was debating between, and these are actually fabric washi tapes. These are from Tim Holtz from last year. I tried to see if they were still available in any scrapbooking shop, and I could not find them on scrapbook.com or on A Cherry on Top. So I think that they are something that is no longer available, unfortunately, because they are beautiful and the texture that they provide is just amazing. I debated between the kind of florally leafy one and then the black gingham, and I end up going with the black gingham. However, when I'm looking at it here, I kind of wish I would have gone with my initial gut, which was to go with the floral pattern, but that's okay. I still like the way that this turns out and the way that it looks, so I'm happy either way. So what I will do here is just kind of peel those pieces apart and then stick the washi down and position it as best I can and get my head totally in the way for you, but that's okay. Sometimes that has to happen in order to make sure everything is exactly where it should go. And then you'll see that it's a little hard to actually fold that vellum piece back down. So what I'm going to do is hold it in place and get my bone folder, and then I'm just going to crease on top of that a bunch of times, and that ends up working out just fine. The vellum piece stays down, no problem. It's just, it was just a little bumpy getting there, right? Next, we're going to go ahead and adhere down the two title pieces using some roller adhesive. So this is the Calm and Bright title, which is going to go right underneath the journaling on the vellum piece there. And then I have this green subtitle piece, which was included in the main kit, and just says something about, Christmas isn't just about gifts. And then that, my friends, is it. All right, friends. Well, that completes my layout for today. I hope you enjoyed seeing how this one came together. And if you did, I would love a thumbs up on this video down below. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so you can see all of my future crafty videos. Let's go ahead and read the journaling for this story before we say goodbye for the day. So this one, I have my journaling on the vellum portion that flips up to reveal the photo. And here is what I wrote. Prior to Saturday, certainly not all was calm nor bright around our house. This season has started so different from the Decembers of the past. In the days leading up to Thanksgiving, all four of us tested positive for COVID, and that threw us. We weren't able to celebrate Thanksgiving with our family, we weren't able to leave the house, and we weren't able to get our Christmas tree. Now, I know it's silly to feel in a Grinchy sort of mood when there's no Christmas tree or twinkle lights, but that's exactly how I was feeling, like a Grinch, totally unmotivated and irritable. I wanted so badly to be in the Christmas spirit, but felt depressed after this year caused us to throw so many of our traditions out the window. By the weekend, I was coming out of my funk, little by little. I suggested to the family that we get outside and get some lights up on our house. We might not have a tree yet, and we might all be feeling a bit down this season so far, but there is nothing that twinkle lights cannot fix. So, we all bundled up and ventured outside into the frigid cold. I worked on the light-filled garland strung above the garage, while Aaron worked on the lights around the front door. It was freezing, but we prevailed. The kids stayed with us for a bit, drawing with chalk on the back of my car and giggling the entire time before getting too cold and heading back inside. Aaron pulled out the extension cords and light timers. We finished our work and turned them on. After calling the kids back outside, we all marveled at the lights for a bit and then went back inside for dinner and to warm up. It didn't take long for the sun to set and the darkness of the winter to engulf us, maybe just an hour or so. I threw back on my coat and boots, ventured back outside on my own, and surveyed our work. It looked beautiful, and I swear to you, in that moment, my heart swelled as I was overcome with feelings of calm and bright. Man, am I thankful for twinkle lights and the magic they make. And then this portion flips up, and then there is the picture of the outside of our home at night, where you can see the garland of lights and then the lights around the entryway of our house there. So love this picture, love this story, and love that we're starting to feel like it's actually Christmas time. Like we have a little bit of that Christmas spirit in all of us right now. So that's a win in my book. All right, friends, well, that is story number 4. I am going to be back tomorrow with story number 5, which is going to be about the books that I'm reading this season to help me get into the Christmas spirit. So hopefully I'll see you back here then. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye, friends.